Ned had always been a master of reading people, a skill that served him well at the poker table. His reputation as an unbeatable player spread, and soon he found himself a member of the exclusive Liars Club. But as his fame grew, so too did the club's expectations. They demanded he play in higher stakes games, and when he refused, they turned ruthless. Ned discovered that his membership had a price, and the club wasn't afraid to collect. Ned thought he had left that life behind, but fate had other plans. His mother's illness threw him into a panic, and the looming medical bills only added to his despair. With no other options, Ned knew he had to return to the world he thought he'd escaped. As he stepped back into the dimly lit rooms where fortunes were won and lost, Ned felt the weight of his decision. He knew that his reputation preceded him, and he wondered if the Liars Club would discover his return. Each game brought him closer to the money he needed, but also closer to the club's watchful eye. Ned had to rely on his instincts and the skills that had made him a legend, but this time, the stakes were much more personal. The tension mounted as Ned advanced deeper into the world of high-stakes poker. He knew that his every move was being watched, not just by his opponents, but also by the shadowy figures of the Liars Club. Their presence loomed over him, threatening to ruin his chances of saving his mother. Despite the danger, Ned played with a fierce determination, using his unparalleled ability to read people to his advantage. Every game brought him closer to his goal, and soon he found himself on the cusp of achieving the unthinkable. Ned couldn't shake the feeling of unease as he contemplated his next move. Returning to the world of poker had never been part of his plan, but desperate times called for desperate measures. His mother's illness had left him with no choice but to consider risking it all once more. The stakes were high, and he knew it. One wrong move could cost him everything, but he was willing to take that chance for his mother's sake. As he weighed the risks and potential consequences, Ned couldn't ignore the thrill of anticipation that came with the game. It had been a part of his life for so long, and he knew he still had what it took to come out on top. But could he afford to take the chance? The potential for loss was ever present, and the consequences could be devastating. Yet, the prospect of victory and the chance to secure his mother's well-being drove him forward. With a mix of trepidation and excitement, Ned knew that his decision would shape his future and that of those he cared about. Ned's heart pounded in his ears as he stepped into the dimly lit den of the Liars Club. The air was thick with smoke and the murmur of hushed conversations. He recognized the familiar buzz of a high-stakes game in progress. The members, an eclectic group of men and women, sat around a large table, their faces illuminated by the green felt surface and the soft glow of crystal glasses. Their eyes, sharp and calculating, briefly met Ned's before returning to the game with an air of detached menace. Ned felt their scrutiny like a physical weight on his shoulders. He knew his reputation preceded him. They were aware of his skill and his retirement from the world of underground poker. But tonight, he had no choice but to return. His mother's life depended on it. With a deep breath, Ned steeled himself and approached the table. The players' eyes flickered with interest, their expressions unreadable. Ned's gaze fell to the cards in front of them, his mind already ticking over the possibilities and probabilities. He recognized the game, a variant of Texas Hold'em, but with a twist he hadn't encountered before. The pot was substantial, and he knew that his entry into the game would change the dynamics. As he pulled out a chair and sat down, a hush fell over the room. The other players' eyes narrowed, assessing this unexpected development. Ned felt their collective gaze like a physical challenge. With a deep, steadying breath, he looked down at his cards, his heart racing, and knew the game had truly begun. As Ned surveyed the table, his heart gave an extra thump at the sight of a familiar face. None other than Pete the Pig, legendary for his penchant for pork pie hats and his ability to sniff out a royal flush from a mile away. Pete's beady eyes, usually as warm as bacon frying, now held a calculating glint as he sized up the new player. The air crackled with anticipation as the club's members wondered, would Ned's return spell a triumph or a tragedy? A whiskered woman to Ned's right, her eyes hidden behind a pair of mysterious monocles, gave him a sly grin, revealing a row of sharp teeth that could rival any shark's. Across the table, a dapper gentleman with a handlebar mustache twirled his wax twirlers, seemingly unperturbed by the intrusion, his eyes holding a world-weary wisdom. The game, a treacherous twist on Texas Hold'em, unfolded like a serpent uncoiling. The stakes were stratospheric, and the players' faces, illuminated by the emerald glow of the table, reflected an array of emotions. Some wore masks of serene calm, while others betrayed a flicker of nervousness or a glint of greed. Ned's mind, sharp as a dealer's shuffle, calculated odds and strategized moves. He knew his reputation preceded him like a royal procession, but he also knew that in this den of deception anything could happen. A wild card could turn the game on its head, and a lucky streak could transform a pauper into a prince. As the first round of betting commenced, the room fell silent, as if the very air held its breath. Ned felt the weight of 1,000 eyes upon him, including those of the enigmatic club members whose stories were woven into the very fabric of this place. Legends whispered in the smoke-filled corners, tales of triumphs and defeats, of fortunes won and lost on the turn of a card. And now, Ned found himself at the heart of it all, his mother's life hanging in the balance, as he braved this den of iniquity and intrigue. Little did he know that this game would change his life forever, setting him on a path of adventure that would test his skills, his nerve, and his very understanding of the world. The stakes were high, and Ned knew it. He had been forced out of retirement and was now playing a dangerous game, not just for himself, but for his mother's well-being. The club's seedy underbelly was on full display as they pulled out all the stops to ensure their victory. But Ned was a force to be reckoned with. His years of experience shone through as he deftly countered each of their tactics with calculated precision. As the game intensified, so did the club's desperation. They employed every trick in the book, from marked cards to subtle hand signals, attempting to gain the upper hand. Yet, Ned remained unwavering, his focus unwavering as he carefully studied their every move. With each counter strategy, he sent a clear message. He was not one to be trifled with. The tension in the room was palpable, thick enough to cut with a knife. Despite the odds, Ned maintained his composure, his features schooled into a mask of calm determination. His fingers deftly manipulated the cards, a silent testament to his years of practice. As the final hand was dealt, Ned knew it was now or never. With a deep breath, he revealed his cards, his heart pounding, knowing that this moment would decide his fate. The room held its breath as Ned's cards were revealed. A collective gasp escaped the onlookers, some in awe, others in dismay. The stakes had never been higher, and Ned's mother's well-being hung in the balance. As the tension reached its peak, Ned's steady gaze never wavered from his opponent's face, studying their every twitch and flicker of emotion. The club's underhanded tactics had failed, and now they truly understood the depth of Ned's skill and determination. This was a man who had cheated death and destiny, a man with nothing left to lose. With the game at its climax, Ned's mind raced back to the reason he found himself in this high-stakes game. It was his mother's frail health and the club's hold over her that had forced him back into this world. He knew their tactics, their dirty tricks, and their underbelly operations, and yet he had returned to face them head-on. This time it was personal. As the silence stretched, the weight of the moment pressed down on all those present. The opponent, their face a mask of defeat, slowly laid down their cards. Ned had won. A rush of relief and triumph surged through him, and he allowed himself a small, satisfied smile. But there was no time to celebrate. His mother needed him. With swift efficiency, Ned collected his winnings and made his exit, his heart still pounding with adrenaline. The club may have been bested, but Ned knew they would not forget this night. As he disappeared into the night, he knew his mother's safety was now secured, and that was worth more than any pot of gold. Ned's heart hammered in his chest as he surveyed the table, his eyes narrowing in concentration. This was it, the moment he had both feared and anticipated. Across from him sat his arch-nemesis, a formidable opponent known only as the Shadow. The air crackled with tension as the two players engaged in a battle of wits and strategy. The stakes could not be higher, for Ned played not only for himself, but also for the life of his beloved mother, held captive by the Shadow's sinister organization. With steady hands, Ned revealed his cards. A pair of aces, a strong hand but not unbeatable. The shadow, his features hidden in shadow, revealed a pair of kings, a dangerous hand that could easily topple Ned's. The table fell silent as the weight of the moment settled upon them. Ned's mind raced, calculating odds and possibilities. He knew he had one chance to turn the game around. With a deep breath, he placed his bet, pushing a substantial stack of chips forward. It was a bold move, one that could either secure his victory or seal his fate. As the final card was dealt, a collective gasp escaped the onlookers. Ned's eyes widened as he revealed a third ace, completing his full house. A smile spread across his face as he realized he had done it. He had beaten the shadow at his own game. With a sweep of his arm, Ned collected his winnings, his heart filled with relief and triumph. And just as he had promised, he used those winnings to secure his mother's freedom, ensuring her safety and bringing an end to the shadow's treacherous reign. Ned's triumph over the shadow brought him immense relief, but his journey was far from over. With his mother safe, he knew he couldn't rest until he dismantled the shadow's organization entirely. Determined, Ned delved into the underworld, seeking allies who shared his desire for justice. He found himself in a dimly lit bar, its patrons whispering about a mysterious figure known as the Ghost, a skilled hacker with a penchant for exposing corrupt entities. Ned approached the bar, his eyes scanning the room for any sign of this elusive ally. A soft-spoken voice startled him. "You seek the Ghost?" a woman asked. Her face was hidden beneath a hood, her eyes obscured by reflective sunglasses. "I can take you to him, but your intentions must be pure." Ned felt a rush of hope. "My intentions are to bring down a dangerous criminal," he replied. "My mother's freedom depends on it." The woman nodded, her expression unreadable. "Then follow me," she said, leading Ned into the night. As Ned followed the mysterious woman, he felt a sense of unease creep over him. The night enveloped them, providing an air of secrecy to their mission. The woman, her identity still unknown, led him through a maze of alleyways and side streets, her steps purposeful and sure. Ned's mind raced with questions. Who was this woman? Could she be trusted? And most importantly, would she lead him to the Ghost, the pivotal ally he so desperately sought? Their journey ended at an inconspicuous warehouse on the outskirts of town. The woman motioned for Ned to enter, her hooded figure blending into the shadows. With a sense of trepidation, Ned stepped inside, his eyes adjusting to the dim interior. The warehouse was filled with a myriad of technological equipment, the soft glow of computer screens illuminating the space. A figure, shrouded in darkness, sat at a central terminal, their fingers dancing across the keyboard with practiced ease. "You have brought an interesting guest, my friend," a deep, modulated voice echoed through the warehouse. "One who seeks justice and holds a connection to the shadow." Intriguing. The figure, who Ned presumed to be the Ghost, rose from their seat and moved closer, their features still obscured. "What is it that you desire from me, young poker player?" Ned's encounter with the Ghost marked a pivotal moment in his quest for justice. As he stepped further into the warehouse, a sense of anticipation hung heavy in the air. The Ghost, their identity still shrouded in mystery, regarded Ned with an air of intrigue. "I presume you wish to strike a deal, Mr. Poker Player?" The Ghost's voice, altered by a digital filter, held a hint of amusement. "I am well aware of the Shadow's activities, and I too seek to put an end to their reign of terror, but I do not offer my services lightly." Ned felt a surge of determination. "I am no ordinary poker player," he asserted. "The Shadow held my mother captive, and I risked everything to save her. I will do whatever it takes to bring down his organization and ensure that no one else suffers at their hands." The Ghost paused, their hidden eyes seeming to study Ned intently. "Very well, Ned. I will strike a bargain with you. I can provide you with the information and resources you need, but in return, you must assist me in a matter of equal importance. Are you willing to accept this deal?" Ned's heart raced as he considered the offer. He knew that the Ghost's assistance could be crucial to his mission, but he also understood that nothing came without a cost in this world. "I accept," he said, his voice steady. "I will do whatever is necessary to bring the Shadow to justice and protect those affected by his crimes." As Ned spoke, he felt a weight settle upon his shoulders. He realized that his journey had become about more than just saving his mother. It was about delivering justice to those who desperately needed it. And with the ghost by his side, he knew that their combined efforts would be a force to be reckoned with. Ned's thoughts were interrupted by a familiar, menacing voice that sent a chill down his spine. "You can't just walk away, Ned. Not after what you pulled tonight." The deep, gravelly voice belonged to Jake, one of the enforcers of the Liars Club. Ned turned to face him, his heart sinking at the sight of the burly man's smug expression. "I know you, Ned. You're a gambler through and through, and I have a proposition for you. Something that might just get you out of the hole you dug for yourself tonight." Ned felt a surge of anger at the man's condescending tone, but he knew better than to refuse outright. The Liars Club held all the cards, and he was playing a dangerous game. "I'm listening," Ned said, his voice steady, belying the turmoil he felt inside. Jake leaned in close, his breath hot on Ned's ear. "There's a high-stakes game coming up, an invite-only affair. We need someone on the inside, someone with your particular set of skills. In exchange, we'll forget about tonight. Consider it a fresh start." Ned's mind raced as he weighed his options. He knew the Liars Club didn't make offers lightly, and refusing could mean putting himself and his mother in even greater danger. But the idea of returning to the world he had left behind, of becoming entangled in their web of deceit and violence again, made his stomach turn. "What makes you think I won't just walk away from this too?" Ned asked, his voice laced with defiance. Jake's smile widened, revealing yellowed teeth. "Because, my friend, you're a gambler, and gamblers always chase the next big win. This could be your chance to rewrite your fate." As Ned stood there, the adrenaline from the game still coursing through his veins, he knew Jake's words held a certain truth. He was a gambler, and the thrill of the game had always been a part of him. Perhaps this was the opportunity to use his skills for his benefit, to rewrite the rules and turn the tables on the Liars Club. "All right, Jake, I'm in," Ned said, his voice steady, masking the uncertainty he felt. "But remember, in gambling, fortunes can change with the turn of a card, and I play to win." With a nod, Jake extended his hand, and Ned shook it, sealing the deal. As he walked away, Ned felt the weight of his decision settle on his shoulders. He knew he had just made a deal with the devil, but sometimes to beat the devil, you had to play his game. As Ned walked away from Jake, he felt a weight lift from his shoulders. He had made a deal with the devil, but it was a necessary evil to protect his mother from the debt that plagued her. Ned knew that his skills and strategy at the poker table would be his greatest assets in this dangerous game. And so, Ned found himself back in the underground poker scene, but this time, he was playing by his own rules. He used his knowledge of the Liars Club's operations to his advantage, navigating the seedy world with a newfound sense of freedom. The high-stakes game that Jake had mentioned was his opportunity to turn the tables and rewrite his fate. As the nights went by, Ned's stack of chips grew, and with it, his confidence. He employed tactics he had learned from his time with the Liars Club, but he did so with a twist, adding his own unique brand of deception and bluffing. Ned's heart raced as he played, not only for the thrill of the game, but also for the knowledge that he was outsmarting the very people who had once controlled him. Finally, the night of the high-stakes game arrived. Ned felt a surge of adrenaline as he entered the room, his eyes scanning the familiar faces of the Liars Club members. They had no idea what he was capable of, and he intended to keep it that way. The game was intense, with bets, bluffs, and bad beats that kept everyone on their toes. But Ned played with a calm determination, his skills sharpened by his desire to beat the club at their own game. As the final hand was dealt, Ned knew that his fate, and that of his mother, hung in the balance. With a steady hand, he revealed his cards, a winning combination that secured his victory. The room fell silent as the realization sunk in. Ned had beaten the Liars Club at their own game, and in that moment, He knew that his gamble had paid off. Ned's mother was safe, and the debt that had once plagued her was a distant memory. The Liars Club, though seedy and dangerous, had underestimated the determination of a man playing for something greater than himself. As Ned walked away from the table, he felt a sense of closure. He had faced his demons and come out on top, proving that sometimes you have to play the devil's game to beat him at his own hand. So, my friend, you've now witnessed Ned's harrowing descent into the smoke-filled back rooms of the Liars Club, the velvet-curtained dens where truth is a stranger and luck is a cruel mistress. His journey wasn't just a stroll through a few shady games. It was a plunge headfirst into a world where every handshake hides a blade and every smile masks a trap. And somehow, against all odds, Ned clawed his way out, but not without scars. It was a wild ride, wasn't it? Full of thrills, double crosses, and the electric tension of chance. But amidst the chaos and the clatter of poker chips, there's something deeper to chew on. Lessons carved in smoke and shadow. Gambling, you see, can be exhilarating. It lights a fire in the belly and a storm in the soul. But make no mistake, it's like dancing with the devil in mirrored shoes. One misstep, one wrong read, and the floor gives way. And when it does, the devil's not known for catching you. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not here to crush the rush. I get it. The pulse-pounding moment when the river card flips, the way time slows before a roulette ball lands. There's a romance to the risk, a poetry to the play. But here's the catch. That rush? It's a siren's call. And those who chase it too far, too recklessly, often find themselves wrecked on unseen reefs. Look at Ned. He thought he could outwit the Liars Club, thought he was the smartest guy in the room. But what he didn't realize is that the room was rigged before he even walked in. The liars don't just deal cards, they deal consequences. And trust me, they never forget a face, especially not one that tries to walk away with their money or their pride. Forgiveness? That's not a word in their vocabulary. So, here's a little wisdom, earned in blood and chips. Gambling's like a bowl of the hottest chili you can imagine. Tantalizing, unforgettable, but if you don't respect it, it'll leave you sweating, shaking, and wishing you never took that first bite. Enjoy the game, sure, play smart, play cool, but always, always know when to fold. And if one night you find yourself pulled toward a shadowy table with whispered promises of easy money, ask yourself this: are you ready to pay the price if the house doesn't like losing? Think of Ned. Think of his narrow escape. Then ask yourself, is it really worth dancing with the devil just to feel alive for a minute? Because in that game, my friend, the devil doesn't just lead, he never lets go.